We are so excited that you all were able to join us today. We're going to be celebrating the 70th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. My name is Lyle Link, and I'm an educator, a musician, and I'm also a lead teaching artist here at SF Jazz. And I'm really excited that you all were able to join us, and really excited to hear this wonderful band. But before we get to that, a couple of things. Please silence any phones or devices that might disrupt the performance. Please no flash or video during this performance, and also take a quick second to look around and locate your nearest exit in the event that we have to leave the auditorium before the concert's over. Also, we would like to really thank the Stupsky Foundation and the Corrette Foundation for their very generous support, which helps make events like this possible, as well as programming in our other schools and our partnering Oakland and San Francisco sites with our Jazz in the Middle program and our Jazz in Session program. Also, we would like to thank AT&T for providing the scenic stream, which is enabling us today to live stream this event to 3 schools. And of course, that stands for Corporation for Education Network Initiatives in California. And speaking of which, we want to give a warm welcome to those 3 schools. Proyas, which is a 6th through 12th grade school, middle and high school, from San Diego. We also have Samuel Jackman Middle School near Sacramento in Elk Grove. And joining them at Samuel Jackman, students from Herman Leichbach Elementary School. 9 6th graders will be joining them also in Sacramento. And here in the minor auditorium, we're happy that you all were able to join us. Give yourselves a round of applause. We'd like to acknowledge Our Lady of Grace, Alamo Elementary School, Ida B. Wells High School, Mercy High School, Classical Conversations, New School of San Francisco, Community School for Creative Education, Glen Park School, and St. Paul's Episcopal School in Oakland. We also want to say that, unfortunately, our Oakland schools, many of them weren't able to come today because of the strike, so we just want to acknowledge that. Support the teachers, exactly. We at SF Jazz definitely stand with the teachers. Speaking of teachers, chaperones, and group leaders, you'll find a gift bag out in the lobby. At the end of the concert, there's 1 bag per group, so definitely link up with our representatives, education representatives in the lobby to get your gift bag. Students, you will also have an opportunity to ask questions, so while these performers are making music and giving lots of history about human rights and civil rights, definitely keep those questions in your head. We're going to have some microphones available so you all can ask those questions. And at the end of the show, please remain seated so that we can get everyone out safely, 1 group at a time. And before we turn to today's performance, I need to introduce these wonderful musicians. Marcus Shelby, bassist, composer, arranger, educator, band leader. He's a figure that's synonymous with Bay Area jazz and the spirit of collaboration. His work focuses on the history, present, and future of the African American experience, and he regularly performs in many settings from small group to orchestra. Presenting works celebrating and shedding light on the civil rights movement, the Negro baseball leagues, the music of great jazz composers like Duke Ellington, Charles Mingus, and much more. Today he's joined by poet Paul Flores, vocalist Tiffany Austin, Bill Ortiz on trumpet, Gaea Shell on piano, and Sly Randolph on drums. And together they'll lead us in celebrating the 70th anniversary for the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Music has always been a force for change and a tool for achieving civil rights and human rights throughout history. throughout the history of the United States and, in fact, the world. The blues and jazz have championed human rights from the beginning, and today Marcus Shelby's group will perform music that has been part of the struggle and has helped inspire and galvanize people and has buoyed their spirits during difficult times. And without further ado, please give us a warm welcome to the Marcus Shelby group.
Thank you. How y'all doing? All right. We're so excited to be here and to also have our kids all the way from places like San Diego. Can I hear y'all from San Diego? Okay. Where are y'all at? Okay. And we have kids from Sacramento. Can I hear the kids from Sacramento? There we go. That's super exciting. And I see we have Bruce Middle School. Can I hear y'all? Okay. I see y'all. And I see you clapping now, all right. And then we have our kids right here in San Francisco. Let's make some noise, y'all. Yeah, okay. Thank you. And so what we're gonna do, we're gonna get right to the music, because the music that we have played as professional music has always been aligned with human rights. Often it's called civil rights from this country. A lot of the music that we play was championed by people like Duke Ellington, Charles Mingus, Nina Simone, Billie Holiday, and we've been inspired by that music. So the first song that we're gonna play, and one of the things I want you to listen for, is the message in the music. The name of this song is I Wish I Knew How It Feels to Be Free. I mean, it tells you right there in the title that this is a freedom song, and one that is about freedom. And it's gonna feature our vocalist, Tiffany Austin. And so I want you to listen to the lyrics. I want you to listen to when people take solos and improvise, because that's about freedom too, because that allows you to play what you want to in the middle of a song. Okay, we have rules, but it's all based on individual freedom within the music, freedom to improvise and to actually compose in the moment. So our music is not only just about freedom, but the way that it's put together is about freedom. And so, again, this first song was championed by people like Nina Simone and others, and this is I Wish I Knew How It Feels to Be Free.
Chains holding me. I wish that I could say everything that I should say. Say it loud, say it clear for the whole wide world to hear. And I wish that I could share all the love that's in my heart and remove every bond that is keeping you and me apart. I wish that you could know how it feels to be me, 'cause then you would see and certainly agree every single person should be free. Yeah. things that I should say and say, Lord, say it clear for the whole wide world to
Thank you very much. Thank you. I want to introduce the members in the band and all the instruments. And if you play that instrument, I want to hear you extra loud. All right? Gaea Shell on the piano. Oh, we got a lot of piano players out there. A lot of piano players. I know we got some piano players online, too, so you can make some noise, too, y'all. How about Bill Ortiz on trumpet? Who plays the trumpet? I see some trumpet over at Samuel Jackman. All right. And we got on the drums, great drummer, Sly Randolph. I see a couple drummers. We got some at Samuel, maybe some over at Bruce. We got any over here in San Francisco? Anybody play drums? Okay. And how about Tiffany Austin on vocals? That should be everybody. I think everybody sings. Make some noise if you can sing. All right. And I'm going to introduce this big instrument. This is an acoustic bass. Anybody play bass? Oh, we got one. All right. Let's get it up for this young man right here. Okay. And so this is our group. We're called a quartet or actually a quintet because we have 5 people in our group. Sometimes we have a lot more. We might have 15. Sometimes we only have 3. But either way, we have 5, and we're all talking to each other in our own ways through our instruments. We use things like improvisation. We play things like chords and rhythms and melodies and harmonies and all those different things to try to communicate and express ourselves. And much of our music is just about that. That first song that we played for you was popular in the 60s, the 1960s, during the Civil Rights Movement, which was a human rights movement. And we've had many of those in our country since the beginning of our country because we've had to make changes so that we all can be part of this country in an equal way. You know, we've had the women's rights movement. We had a movement to end slavery. We had a movement to bring rights to children. We had a gay rights movement. We have many different movements today. And we have vocalists that are writing songs about that movement that's happening today, like Tiffany Austin. Let's give it up for Tiffany Austin. Because we're going to play a song that was composed by her, okay? So we can still use music in a very profound way to try to make changes that we want to make in society, positive changes. And so this one's called Greenwood, and this is on her new CD. Greenwood. I'm going to let Tiffany talk about it. Go ahead, Tiffany. Tell us a little bit about Greenwood.
Yeah, so I wrote this song about Greenwood, and I don't know how many of you have heard of the Black Wall Street neighborhood, 1920s. Show your hands or make some noise if you know about that neighborhood. So yes, this was a thriving black community. And in the 1920s, actually, you know, there were people who didn't like the fact that this black community was thriving so much, and so they just created a riot, and they destroyed that neighborhood and killed a lot of black folks because they found that that was threatening. And so, you know, I was thinking about how some things, you know, have changed, but some things haven't changed. And so I wrote this song. And so listen carefully to the lyrics, because you're going to hear that link to things in the past, to things in the present. promised we'd all taste one day. Did they all die like unwatered amber waves of gray? You said you'd love me if I just wait my turn. Instead you watched as Greenwood burned. I guess the price of true freedom is something I can't ever earn. From Mississippi, Watts, and Oakland to Ferguson, we all had to weep and cry the blues. All those whose lives are done from legislation, noose or gun, we hold a silent space for you. Whatever happened to that freedom song you sang when you sailed for our shores? Don't give 3/5 of your love and honor what you vowed before. sun, we all had to weep and cry the blues. All those whose lives are done, from legislation, noose or gun, we hold a silent space for you. Whatever happened to that freedom song you sang when you sailed for our shores? Don't give 3/5 of your love and honor what you vowed before. Yeah. Don't give 3/5 of your love and honor what you vowed before.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That was written by Tiffany Austin. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to introduce a gentleman who I've known for about 23 years. And that's funny because I'm only 25 years old. Oh, no, not really. Not really. Not even half that, really, or older than that. But anyway, who likes poetry? Raise your hand if you like poetry. How about our online kids? Anybody out there like poetry? Anybody write poetry? Okay, I see some hands out there. Well, we have one of the greatest poets I consider alive right here in San Francisco, and he's going to come out and do a couple poems for you. Please welcome Mr. Paul Flores. Paul Flores. How you doing, Paul? I'm good. I like that hat.
Okay, so the difference is that I've known Marcus for 23 years, but he still looks the same. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Or true.
He still looks 23. Good to see you all. Good morning. Welcome to the people that are watching us on TV or the live stream. And I want to give a shout out to the Oakland School students whose teachers are striking for justice, fair wages, support in the classroom, including more counselors, including smaller classes, including a living wage, so they can provide the best education for all you. And I definitely want to support them. As someone who has spent many, many years in the Oakland classrooms, I know exactly what the teachers are going through and what the students need. So we need them to be supported. And we also want to remember that those students do deserve the best education possible. And that is a human right. Education is a human right, okay? So you guys remember that too. This poem I'm gonna do is for the immigrants. And not just the immigrants that we hear about who are often, being compared to the wall. I don't want to only speak about, because immigration happens in a lot of ways. Some people come by land, some people come through the air, by plane, others come by sea. And I'm going to talk about some immigrants who have arrived by sea, who risked their lives to come to the United States by crossing the Caribbean Ocean. So this is a poem called Madre del Mar, which means mother of the sea. In Cuba, Madre del Mar is a diosa, a goddess named Yemaya. I'm Cuban, so I talk about this. Many people who cross the ocean before they attempt to arrive to the United States pray to Yemaya. This is based on a true story about a woman who I know who lives here in the Bay Area, who is a DJ. And she crossed the ocean because she wanted to be a DJ. And that type of lifestyle isn't super easy to achieve here. Imagine how much harder it would be in Cuba. So this is called Madre del Mar. Oh, oh, yale, yalumao, yale, umiabe, ayagba umio. Lost in the middle of the ocean. I haven't eaten anything since we left Havana. One full night and one full day has already passed. There's 16 of us in a tiny boat made for 8. Only one engine and one extra tank of gas. I can't see anybody, and I don't talk to anyone. I have 2 plastic bags. One so I can throw up inside the boat and not in the water where the sharks will feed. Another I hid under my shorts that contains all the names and numbers, email and addresses of all the people I know who said they would take care of me if I ever made it out of Cuba and came to live in the United States. Lost in the middle of the ocean. Everybody around me is delirious and tripping. Mira para acá, mira para allá. Telling the captain to go that direction. No, that direction. No, this one. And the boat keeps turning, and we keep leaning back and forth and back and forth. I don't have anything in my stomach, so I move to the front of the boat to feel the air on my face, but the waves keep splashing me until I'm soaked. And I vomit again. This water is endless. This water won't leave me in peace. And all I can think about is just surviving. And all I can think about is what I risked to get here. 2 days ago, I said goodbye to my daughter. She just turned 4 years old. I left her in Cuba. I left her with my mother. I left her with my mother, Yamaya. See, I have 2 mothers. And I am also a mother. Madre soy yo. Who am I to leave my only daughter, to risk my life and her life, to cross the ocean, to chase a dream in the United States, to become a DJ? Is that crazy? Madre soy yo. Isn't this just a dream, a clandestine dream? Imagine a life in which dreams are kept hidden, secrets brought to life in the middle of the ocean. This was my dream.
Call Flores. Call Flores. Oh, yeah. We're going to do another one.
So it's important that we make our communities safe for immigrants, okay? It's important that we make our community safe for immigrants, and we don't discriminate against somebody based on their citizenship status or supposed status, or start trying to say, oh, you look like an immigrant. None of that. We have to make our communities safe for everybody, because everybody participates in our community. And that's why it's important to know where you come from. Let people know where you come from. Folks are going to assume no matter what, but you have a voice. You have the opportunity to share your voice and let people know where you're from, where your family's from. And be proud of it. Yes, Mexico, that's beautiful. You shout out where your family's from. That's beautiful. Yes, Philippines, absolutely. Montana, Nicaragua. Yes. Africa, Canada, Puerto Rico, France, Panama, Guatemala, Venezuela, China. Beautiful, beautiful. Give a round of applause to all the beautiful people from all around the world. That's the beautiful thing of the United States. We want to celebrate that. Now, this next poem is a little more harsh. The reason I say these poems is so that we know what we're fighting for, why we need human rights. We had an incident here in San Francisco where a young man was shot by police. And he was unarmed, and the community came up and rose up, and they wanted to know why. And how do you justify killing or shooting somebody 59 times? How is that justified? How do we live in a community where someone could be shot at or shot 59 times by police? How do we feel safe in that situation? You know, we have a right to feel safe in our communities. We're supposed to trust the police. This gentleman, who I'm going to talk about right now, Alex Nieto, was killed 2 blocks from my and Marcus's children's school. 59 bullets rained on him, 2 blocks from our school. That's very frightening to me to think about that. That just up Bernal Hill Park is only 2.5 blocks from Leonard Flynn Elementary. And so I was part of the Justice for Alex movement, and we did a whole play about it, about what happened to Alex, how did the city fail him, and how did the community come up and demand justice. And so just to make a long story short, at the end of it all, the family didn't get any restitution, but what we did do was demand that a memorial be put on the top of Bernal Hill, which is to be the first memorial ever paid for by a city that will recognize the life of a victim of police violence. So Alex Nieto will have a memorial on Bernal Hill Park that will be paid for by San Francisco. So I think that that's amazing, but I'm going to take you back to this point in 2014, and it's called ¿Qué dicen? Who speaks Spanish? What does ¿Qué dicen mean? What does ¿Qué dicen? What does that mean? ¿Qué dicen? What do they say? What are they saying? What are they saying? ¿Qué dicen? What are they saying? Mother, your boy got shot by police. ¿Qué dicen? What are they saying? Madre, tu hijo Alex se mató. Quick, no time to feel. Generations, translation about death to evictions. Se dicen que nos tenemos que ir. Gentrification, not easy to translate, not easy to communicate loss and pain. In some cases, defenseless. Did that cop have a warrant to search the Nieto's apartment? ¿Qué le pasó a Alex? Who's going to translate for his parents? ¿Qué dicen? What are they saying? No entiendo. I don't understand. Don't be mistaken. I speak English. I just can't understand this situation. ¿Qué dicen? How is 59 shots not police brutality? 4 cops execute 1 man of color? How is that within standard police policy? ¿Qué dicen? What did they say? Not a violation of their rights. Y'all ain't right. You did violate Alex's right to life. You violated the Nieto's civil rights to a loving son. Y'all ain't right. Now who is supposed to translate how justicia is done? ¿Qué dicen? We are guerreros. We are guerreros. Original misioneros. We will continue on the mission, working hard for our rights. We stand with the Nietos. That's what we are saying. Thank you.
All right, let's hear it for Paul Flores. Paul Flores, one of our great poets here in the Bay Area, and we thank him for those 2 poems. We're going to bring back out Tiffany Austin, our vocalist. Give her a big round of applause. Thank you. I want to check in with our kids online. How are y'all doing over at Samuel Jackman? All right. Cool. about our kids over at Bruce Middle School? How y'all doing? Yeah. Okay. And how about our kids here in San Francisco? Let them hear you. There we go. So what we're going to do one more song, then we're going to let y'all ask some questions. So think about questions about music, about anything that we're doing up here. It can be a musical question. It could also be a question about human rights, something maybe you heard in one of the songs or one of the poems, and that includes our kids online. If you have a question, we're going to make sure everyone has an opportunity who's online and who's here in the audience. And so we're going to do one song. This song is about another person who fought for human rights, okay, and she did her entire life. Her name was Harriet Tubman. Anybody heard of Harriet Tubman? What about a Samuel Jackson? Anybody heard of Harriet Tubman there? Yeah, okay. What about Bruce? Anybody heard of Harriet Tubman? Yeah, okay, so y'all gonna know a little bit about what this song is about. Harriet Tubman fought not only to end slavery and help those get out of slavery, but she also fought in the Civil War, and she also fought for women's rights. So this song is about her. It's called I Will Not Stand Still.
In a of a ship, in shackle and chain, through an unhumane trip, she so hard to forget how far we've come from a hole in a ship in chains and the crack of a whip may cause me pain. Yeah, I will not stand still. Head so old from a beater, and tired is my soul. Black blood running through my veins, and though my mind may be weak, my heart remains, and I will not stand still. I will not stand still. I will not stand
All right. Thank you very much. Well, this time we give you an opportunity to hear your voice. So I'm going to turn it over to Lyle Link from SFJAZZ. Let's give it up for SFJAZZ.
Another round of applause for Marcus Shelby and his wonderful band, everybody. And give yourselves a round of applause. You've been a wonderful audience. So at this point, we want to open things up. If you have a question, we have a microphone. And I would love to get questions from every school if we can have that represented. So if you have a question, just kindly get up quietly and head over to our microphone. We have some staff that can help you get there. Does anyone want to ask any of these folks a question?
Took a shortcut. I like that. I don't know if SFJAZZ likes that.
Oh, please say your school, if you don't mind.
I'm at New School, SF San Francisco. What made What made you decide to be a band?
Oh, that's a very good question. What made us decide to be a band? Because, you know, we could be playing with other musicians, other styles of music, and we actually do. And actually, we do play in other bands. Actually, everyone on this bandstand leads a band. But because we have common interest, of the type of music that we play, and particularly this type of music that has a message. Some of it's about human rights, civil rights, some of it's about other things, that we came together to try to share music because of our common interests. Let's give a big round of applause. That was an excellent question.
I have another question.
Oh, yes you do, okay.
Does your band have a name?
This band right here is called the Marcus Shelby Quintet, but we have featured guest artists, Tiffany Austin.
Okay.
We also had Paul Flores, the poet, and we have Bill Ortiz on trumpet, Gaea Shell on piano, and Sly Randolph on drums. Okay. All right? Thank you, my man. Let's give him a round of applause, y'all.
All right, at least we'd like to take a question from a student from Flores Middle School.
Greetings. My name is Ari Arroyo, and I'm a student here at the School of UC. And the question I want to ask is, how do you, or how, what do you guys think about your message and spreading it to using the music and helping it, and how it gives better understanding to the younger generations?
That's an excellent question. Let's give this young man a big round of applause. Thank you. Well, I'll quickly answer. I'll say that a lot of the music we play is because we've been inspired by those who came before us, whether it was Bessie Smith, Louis Armstrong, Nina Simone, Duke Ellington, Billie Holiday. These were great musicians that play the type of music that we played, that used their music during their time period to help inspire change, to help bring people together, to help do things that would help serve human rights and civil rights. And so we try to do the same thing. As you heard in Tiffany's song, Greenwood, those lyrics were about what happened, to try to inspire people, to educate people, and to move them into action. And so music can give you messages in its lyrics, but it can also make you feel a certain way just by the sound of the music, the heartbeat of the bass, or the warm chords on the piano, or the fire of the trumpet, or the fire in the drums, or just everything that a vocalist can do. You heard Tiffany scat sing. That's when you make up lyrics, make up sound. All these things are trying to communicate expression, feelings, emotions, to try to touch people. Thank you, my man. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Please say the name of the school you're from and your
My
question.
school is OLG, and my question is, why does jazz only have certain instruments?
You know what? I'm going to let Tiffany answer that question. Why does jazz have only certain instruments?
Let's see. Well, let's think about it. So we had, jazz kind of came together, right, in New Orleans. And so we had brass instruments. We had the drums and things like that. So I think it came out of the tradition of New Orleans, you know. So folks had access to certain types of instruments. Now, what you see on this stage is definitely kind of a stripped down version of that, right? So like if you look at like a New Orleans, you know, jazz group, especially from back in the day, you're gonna see an expanded instrumentation. Second line, you're gonna see a whole bunch of brass players, right? But then it's also about what's, you know, what we can get paid for, right? You can't pay 1,000 people to be on stage tonight, right? Or this afternoon. So we have to tighten up that group, but still cover, you know, the rhythm sections, drum, piano, have some chords, you know, definitely keep that bass line going and still have that brightness of the brass. And I think another part of it is, you know, we have like traditional, you know, jazz singers, and that comes out of the blues tradition. Anybody heard about Bessie Smith, great blues singer? Okay, so yes, that was at a time when they were called, you know, race records. And so one of the original recorded blues singers around that time was Bessie Smith. And of course, jazz grew out of that tradition as well, the blues tradition. And so that's how you get a lot of vocalism in jazz as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will say, young lady, no matter what instrument, if you play the kazoo, you can swing and play this music. You know, if you play the triangle or bagpipes, you can play this music. You just got to improvise and swing and play from your heart and soul. Let's give her a big round of applause. One more online, yeah.
So via our scenic live stream, we'd like to take a question from Samuel Jackman Middle School and Herman Leimbach.
Hi, I'm from Samuel Jackman Middle School, and I was just wondering, what do you guys do for your solos? Do you write it down, or do you go up the chords, or how do you end up making a solo that sounds so good?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Let's give her a big round of applause. It's an excellent question that I'm going to let our trumpet player, Bill Ortiz, answer.
Okay, hello. I would say that when you're improvising a solo, you're composing, and so what you're playing is not something that's written out or made up. So you have a certain set of chords, and for each chord there's a scale. And in addition to that, when you learn how to play jazz, like for example, if you're going to be a jazz trumpet player, it helps if you listen to the people who established the tradition of trumpet in jazz. So for me, I would listen to people like Louis Armstrong and Miles Davis and Dizzy Gillespie and people like that, and more recently like Roy Hargrove. So you have your vocabulary of ideas, but when you're playing a solo, it's totally made up on the spot. So what I try to do when I'm going to play a solo is when I bring the horn up to my lips, I have no idea what I'm going to play until I start playing. And so I'll play a phrase, and that phrase will kind of lead me to what I'm going to play next. It's like telling a story, and so you say one thing, and then it kind of leads you to the next thing, and then you're also listening to the people in the band with you. They might play something on piano that might make you think of something else, so then you might play that. So there's no one set way of doing it, but basically you're making it up on the spot.
All right, that was an excellent question. Let's give this young lady a round of applause. Thank you.
So unfortunately, we have reached the end of our concert today. But if you all have these questions, definitely maybe you can send them to your teacher, and then they can email these questions to us, because we definitely want to respond and be as accessible as possible. But unfortunately, we do want to respect your time. It's now 11:30. And also, I just can we give a round of applause to Flores Middle School and Samuel Jackman Middle School and the students from Herman Linebaugh. Thank you all so much for joining us via ChicanX live stream.
Samuel Jackman. Herman Linebaugh. And let's hear it for our San Francisco schools.
So please keep your seat, and we will be dismissing you all group by group. We've got one short one for you.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let me hear you. This little light of mine, what? All right. This little light of mine, y'all. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around the world, all around the world, y'all. All around the world, what? All around the world. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. In and out of school, in and out of school, y'all.
Hear you, Bruce.
Sing it, y'all. In and out of school. Sounds so good. In and out of school. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, yeah. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. One more time, y'all. Let it shine, let it shine. Give me some, come on, say yeah. Say oh. Make some noise, y'all. Make some noise if you want to share your lighter. And let it
I'm going to call schools one at a time just so we can facilitate a easy exit. Thank you all again for coming out, and we hope to see you soon. And don't forget about the gift bags that you'll find out in the lobby with our education staff. Can we have Ida B. Wells first? Ida B. Wells students. Okay, next we have New School of San Francisco.